Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, we'll update Arizona's growing reputation as a hub for startup businesses. Also tonight, a new book looks at ways to advance your career without burning out or selling out. And a look at the 75-year history of women in rodeo. Those stories and more next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your public television station.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. Arizona is seeing a steady increase in startup companies, with the Phoenix area becoming a hub for startups and a magnet for investors looking to get in on the ground floor of a next big thing. To learn more, we welcome Christine Mackey. She's the president and CEO of the Greater Phoenix Economic Council. You know, I've introduced you many times, but never as GPEC's leader. Congratulations on that.
Thank you for that. It's really exciting for me to get this new opportunity.
I was going to say, why'd you take the job?
You know, I've been an economic developer in the region for the last 30 years and was ready to go do something else. And now I get to move into 14,000 square miles of the region.
Yeah, big job. And obviously, congratulations again on that. We're talking startup.
Yes.
And a hub for startups. When did this happen?
You know, I think that as you look at the region, we've always been this mecca for startups. Our primes are here, whether you're the big semiconductor companies or aerospace companies, and engineers come here, they get started with them. But really where we've seen this move into a new level has been certainly in the last decade, but really the last 5 years.
And are these mom and pops? Are these people coming from California? Are they homegrown? Who are these folks?
You know, I think they're an assortment of what you've just talked about. So many of them are homegrown. They're engineers who came here to work for Motorola or Intel or Honeywell and started their own companies. They're spin-outs of university. We have any number of them that have come from ASU and University of Arizona. But also, I think what we've seen is, especially during the pandemic, it was people who wanted to relocate to Phoenix for a better lifestyle, and they brought their startups with them.
And they found a better business climate, I would imagine, than a lot of places?
Oh, absolutely. When you look at what, Governor Ducey created all those years ago in the sandbox environment that we have here. So our startups get to test their technologies without having to meet all the rules and regulations that a commercialized business does. And that's what we call a sandbox. They get to kind of play a different way than fully commercialized companies.
Until they get to be adults, and you got to get out of the sandbox.
Then they got to get out of the sandbox.
Yeah. You know, we talked many years on this program about venture capitalism, and my question always was, in the past, where is it? Why do we not see more VC here in Arizona? Venture capitalism is key to business development. We're starting to see it now, aren't we?
We're starting to see it at amazing levels, and I absolutely agree with you. We were always this market where venture capital came in out of San Francisco or out of Boston or out of Atlanta, and then and what would happen oftentimes is they'd take the companies back with them. So we'd lose our startups that we had really kind of homegrown here, and now with the density and number of startups that we have, you're really seeing those family foundations and those venture capital offices come here because the companies they can invest in are reaching scale.
And the industries that they're investing in, you kind of touched on this earlier, but give us a broader definition of what's happening out there.
Absolutely. So I think what we're seeing them invest in so much are in our biosciences and life sciences. They're in cancer therapy and implantable devices and wearable devices, really those things that are going to change humankind, human life, make life better for people. But it's also in advanced air mobility. So think drones, think of delivery drones, think of robots that are bringing me my food now, or in our military and defense, but also in whether they're in semiconductor, whether they're in others, chip manufacturing, all kinds of different areas.
And I would imagine chip manufacturing would be at or near the lead, would it not?
It is absolutely the lead. It is the area that especially now with our bigger primes that are here, whether you're Intel or TSMC, that you can work with technology with them. They are absolutely in the lead of really revolutionizing everything that's going on.
Whether it's the big horses out there or the smaller startups, are people working together? Are we seeing collaboration, or are we starting to see competition, silos developing, that sort of thing?
You know, that's one of the things I've loved best about Arizona, and one of the ways I sell Arizona when we're out marketing to companies is this is an economy that's built on collaboration. They really don't have silos and fight with each other. You know, we can call an accelerator, and there can be a startup that's having a problem with one of their, let's call it a chip. They're having a trouble with one of their chip designs. We send out an email, and you'll get a half a dozen engineers that work for the big primes that'll come to the accelerator and help them solve that problem that night.
And if they solve that problem that night or the next day, there's something called the flywheel effect that takes effect. Is that the same thing as an accelerator or something different?
It is. It's very similar to an accelerator. What happens then is those much more sophisticated and commercially operated companies kind of take hold and help those smaller companies come to success, hence the flywheel.
All right, let's get to the big 800-pound gorilla in every room these days, AI.
Yes.
Where is AI in all this?
You know, artificial intelligence is one of those things that is really moving into all facets of our life. And luckily, Arizona is at the center of that with our chip manufacturing, because microchips have to go in every ounce of artificial intelligence, but it's really moving into those life-changing devices. And think about surgery, think about healthcare, think about elderly patients who can stay home longer because there's technology that can help them in their homes.
Are there investors thinking about those things?
It's probably the lead that we have in our venture capital is in artificial intelligence. Not only venture capital, but the federal government is investing significantly in artificial intelligence.
What are the challenges, though, that come with such a dependence on AI?
You know, I think there's a number of things. First of all is the water and power. The production and all this data has to be stored someplace. And when you're dealing with, massive amounts of heat and that technology, the water and power is something you have to overcome.
Do we have enough water for this? Do we have enough power for this?
You know, as you look at water, that is one of the things that Arizona's been really good at. We've always known we lived in a desert, and we're really respectful of the fact that we live in a desert, and we recycle and reuse that water over and over and over again. So water isn't the thing that would concern me the most as much as power. You know, when you originally looked at these locations, they might use 6 megawatts or 8 megawatts of power. Now they might use 1,200 megawatts of power. And our utility companies are really working diligently to solve that issue.
Are they solving the issue? Are they on the right track?
They are. They're bringing in new sources of power and really sending out those thought leaders and those companies to figure out solutions.
So these startups, the hub for startups now, you've talked about a lot of good things here, a lot of progress, a lot of growth. Where is GPEC in all of this?
You know, that's one of the greatest things, that GPEC gets to work on all scales. So the Greater Phoenix Economic Council gets to work from, the small enterprises all the way up to the really big technology companies. And we have a gentleman in our team that his sole focus is to work with startups and help them select the region or help them find the connections to the technologies that they need or the solutions or advantages that they need to be able to scale and stay here. We work with our universities and the community colleges and, more importantly, our cities.
All right, Christine, last question here. What do we watch for next?
You know, I think the next thing that I would watch for is human carry drones.
Holy smokes! So, human carry drones?
We have a mission to, no pun intended, to land the first vertiport here in the central city of Phoenix.
How would it look? I mean, am I going to see some guy flying over my backyard?
I think you are. Probably I would say in the next 5 years is my prediction. You will see people using drone taxis. I think it'll start like Waymo did with the autonomous vehicles, and you'll see autonomous taxis.
Holy smokes. Good gracious, Christine. You give me nightmares now with something like that. Christine Mackey again, Greater Phoenix Economic Council. Good to have you here. Good to see you again.
Thank you so much.
Skugta, Shaniana Pchigig, Kaylin Allen. Since the 1770s, the Gila River has drastically changed, notably with the removal of our water through settlers coming in and diverting our water upstream. Since time immemorial, the Akimel Atum saw Kuriakimel, the Gila River, as our lifeblood. It represented agriculture, our trade with other tribes, as well as our artistry, as many basketry materials were found here. The Akimel Atum created innovative canal systems. These canals diverted water from the river into individual family farming plots. Because of the loss of our river, all of our fish species that were once in the Gila River are gone. This includes suckerfish, pike minnows, pupfish, and carps. There are 8 MARs across the Gila River Indian community. MARs stand for Managed Aquifer Recharge Sites, and these are composed of water from the Gila River, Central Arizona Project water, and just a myriad of different water sources that are then pumped back into select areas on the community. I believe that the restoration of our river is the ultimate path of resilience. As a sovereign and leading tribal nation, we now have the ability and means to make these changes that we want to see for our community members and for our reservation.
How to advance your career without burning out or selling out. That's the question at the heart of a new professional self-help book. The book is titled Visible: How to Advance Your Career Without Playing Politics, Selling Your Soul, or Working Yourself into the Ground. The book's author is Mae Busch, and she joins us now. Welcome to Arizona Horizon. Good to have you here.
Thank you so much, Ted. I've been looking forward to this.
Oh, me too. Congratulations on the book.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's a big deal when you write a book, isn't it? I mean, when you hold it in your hand, it's a big deal.
It is a huge deal. It took a lot. Some say a labor of love.
All right, talk to us about how, former COO of Morgan Stanley Europe, how do you come to write a book on career advancement?
Well, my career was, let's just say I was an accidental banker. And I'm motivated by challenge, so I went into the hardest thing I could think of. My family's full of academics, public servants, doctors, and I wanted to do something different. So it was a struggle, and I figured it out and took good notes.
You took good notes on how not to sacrifice your soul, as you say,
Yes.
in the process. How do you do that?
So the first thing to realize is that you have to be very centered about who you are and then figure out the way to navigate. So, for example, people always tell us, well, you know, you gotta just keep your head down, do good work, and your work will speak for itself. After the first couple years, that just isn't true. Then they tell you, you got to play the game. And of course, that sounds really slimy. And there is a third way, and that's what this book talks about.
And again, many feel stuck between burnout and sellout, and you're saying it doesn't have to be those two ways. There is a third way. What is that third way?
So the third way starts from realizing that you have to put yourself in the shoes of what the senior decision makers are thinking. And what they're thinking about is different oftentimes than what we ourselves are thinking about. And I can tell you a quick story
Please.
about how I learned this the hard way.
Yes.
So I was up for promotion. My boss and my boss's boss thought I was doing a great job. But when they went to the committee of decision makers, the committee said, Mae, who? They didn't even know who I was.
Oh, boy.
And the one or two people who knew who I was thought, gee, you know, she can't possibly have made so many strides in 6 months, so she can wait a year. And that was my wake-up call.
Were you focused too much on the task at hand without seeing the forest for the trees? That kind of whole cliche avalanche there?
That was part of it. And because when you focus so much on your job description, and performing at your current job, you lose sight of what is actually at least as important to senior decision makers. What they're looking for is who has the potential, the demonstrated potential to be successful at the next level. Because they're not thinking about, oh, can she do this job? They're looking at what the job is that you're getting promoted into.
But if you focus on that, or at least are aware of that, are you not playing a different kind of game?
So this is where I think you're talking about politics, Ted.
Yes.
And I think we need to go back and define politics. And the definition that I like is my mother's. So my mother's a pediatrician, and she has seen a lot of families, little kids, and she says, you know, Mae, politics happens anytime you have two or more people in the same place. It's just natural. It's a little society, and when you frame it like that, you realize we're not playing games, we're not playing politics, we're just trying to understand other people, our audience, and their care and feeding.
And you write about being authentic. You have to stay authentic throughout this entire process. How do you make, it's kind of an odd question, how do you make sure you're authentic?
Well, first, you start by realizing that being authentic doesn't mean being the same all the time. And it's not an excuse to just not ever change.
Right.
So it's just like you have a closet full of clothes. Some of them are suits, others are swim gear, others are black tie. They're all authentic to us, but they're just suitable for different occasions. So that's what I mean by being authentic. So you bring your most appropriate best self all the time. And so you have to understand what your values are first, and then you can set boundaries around honoring them.
Indeed, and if your boundaries, if being authentic means you may not be the one who raises your hand, may not be the one that is the loudest in the conference room, that's you. Oh, that's not you.
Well, that's a version of you That's the
Oh,
version
I
of
see.
you
Oh, I
that
see
is.
what you're saying.
Is that the
Okay.
version of you that's going to serve you well in that situation? So if you are wanting to get to the next level where you can make that bigger impact, because this book is for good people,
Right.
Not people who are trying to game the system. The good people I'm talking about are people who sincerely, diligently do their work. They care about people. They're always trying to do the right thing. And those are the people who oftentimes are watching their colleagues, some less experienced, maybe even less capable, start moving ahead of them. And that's just not fair. And so this book is about leveling the playing field, not playing the game, but deciding how you're going to navigate through and show up in a way that's consistent with who you are and get you seen by the people who make decisions.
Yeah, you got to figure out which you're talking about here, huh? Yeah. Career Mastery, what is that?
Career Mastery is my program. It's my membership for people who want to advance in their careers in this very authentic way. And it is a professional development resource for people.
Yeah, and you work at ASU. You help ASU with leadership. And these
I
kinds of
help
things.
ASU, yes. I have the honor of being a senior advisor for leadership to the Office of the President at Arizona State University.
So when you talk to people, and obviously everyone's different, everyone's authentic in their own way. I mean, is it difficult sometimes to? You can't do the same. You can't tell the same story and give the same lesson over and over. You got to model it to the people, don't you? Individually, yeah.
Of course.
Can that be a challenge?
Sure. Life is a challenge. Our careers are a challenge. And that is the art of learning to be able to communicate your ideas, to be able to connect with other people in a way so that you can be seen, heard, and respected.
Yeah.
So you want to land those points. And for every person, just like, let's say you speak French. Well, I need to speak the French version with you.
Interesting.
Someone else speaks Chinese.
You understand where you're going, what your audience is, and who the people you're working with, and who the people you want to get the attention of, who they are.
Exactly. So you need to do some relationship building. You need to do some research and reconnaissance so that you really understand, like I was saying before, the care and feeding of people.
Yes.
What's going to resonate with somebody. If you care about a particular result, let's say you care about market share, one of your bosses cares about market share, well, then you're going to talk about your accomplishments in terms of the impact it's making on market share, as opposed to the next person who cares about innovation.
Yes. And make sure your voice is heard. Mae Busch, again, the book is visible. Congratulations on the book, and congratulations on a great career and for helping people.
Thank you.
Along US 93 between Kingman and Lake Mead is a marker to a ghost town known as the 6-Year Wonder. 8 miles away is the original site of the town of White Hills, where 15 mines produced more than $12 million in gold and silver. When word of the strike finally got out, White Hills went from nothing to a town of 1,500 in 2 years. At its height, White Hills boasted a post office, electric and telephone service, general stores, a schoolhouse, and plenty of saloons. By 1914, the boom had gone bust, and by the 1930s, the ruins remained, yet the people were gone. Today, there's little left to remind us of the rapid rise and fall of White Hills.
I'm Amna Nawaz. Tonight on the NewsHour, Congress votes to release the Epstein files. That's coming up at 6 on Arizona PBS.
The Women's Professional Rodeo Association is celebrating 75 years of providing an opportunity for women to rope and ride in what historically has been a male-dominated sport. For more on the history of women in rodeo, we welcome Amanda Kimes, owner of Kimes Ranch. Good to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
And Kimes Ranch is associated with professional rodeo how?
Well, Kimes Ranch is its own entity. So Kimes Ranch is a clothing company. We live and breathe the Western lifestyle. We have come up in this industry showing and competing, and so we really live and breathe it. Now, with that, we thought, hey, what a better way to help grow our clothing than to really become invested in these women in rodeo. So in doing that, we have been hosting events to help promote women in rodeo, which is kind of hand in hand with growing the brand and promoting things all equine and ag-related.
Okay, gotcha. And the next event is what, like next week or something?
Next week is our second event that we've hosted, and it's the $1 Million Breakaway, and it's a $1 million purse for female only in the breakaway roping field.
I would imagine that there are women watching right now going, $1 million for women in rodeo.
It's unheard of.
How did that happen? Talk about the history of the Pro Rodeo Association. How did it get started? It sounded like it got started with a bunch of women in West Texas who said, we're tired of dealing with this.
So the Women in Rodeo has been, like you said, going on for 75 years. It's a great event. Breakaway of roping is the event that we host, and that is really only in its inception. In 2019, it became a professional organization for the women in rodeo.
Okay.
So it's very new, but it's the fastest growing event we have in rodeo. So why wouldn't we cater to it and cater to all of these women? So in 2019, to give you an example, there was 30 rodeos nationwide. In 2022, there was over 500 rodeos.
Wow.
And it's continuing to grow from there. And then as you know now, with our event being the largest purse they have, paying over $1 million over 10 rounds. It's a huge event for them.
And back in the day, it seems, you know, from what I've read and what I even remember, barrel racing was kind of the big thing for women in rodeo. Is it still a big thing, or have things changed?
Anything female, women and horses, right? It goes hand in hand. It's huge, and barrel racing is still at the front line of that. But breakaway is the fastest growing. It's one of the easiest events to get into, and so that's where we have been catering our time to. You can see right here to the breakaway roping, but barrel racing is right there as well.
So, and when you say breakaway, what exactly are you talking
So
about?
we all know what team roping is. You have two people roping. You rope the front end and the back end of a cow in rudimentary terms. Breakaway roping is just this. The young lady throws the rope in under 2 seconds, ropes the calf around the neck, and it's a breakaway rope. So the rope comes loose, the calf keeps running, the horse stops, and the timer goes off, and it's under 2 seconds.
Wow.
It's fast. Those women can throw a loop in 2 hits and catch that calf, and it's like, unlike I sure can't do it.
And the little calf gets to run away and live another day. Mm-hmm. Well, that's encouraging to hear.
It's
as
a
well.
wonderful event for anybody to get into.
Yeah, okay. Back in the day, though, let's get back to the history of women in rodeo. 75 years ago, what was it like for a woman?
It was incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, you're having to manage a household, you're having to manage your children, you're having to manage all the other chores that you have, and you're trying to compete and go down the road at this national level with men that at that time didn't have the same responsibilities at home that women did. So just think about the unfair advantage that they had.
What about how they were treated?
It was very difficult. The money wasn't there. The stock wasn't as good. You know, I think that once they were there, everyone could appreciate how much they were putting effort forth, but no, it was not it wouldn't have been a fun environment to be in.
But the association gets started and things change.
And things change very rapidly, and at that time, barrel racing was the fastest growing sport that they had, and it was really great for these women to get into it and to really grow the association.
And it sounds like that you had to start from scratch, make general rules, make general points and standings so that you would know who was leading and who was winning, and just basic things.
Absolutely, and at that time, right now, we have the internet, so you go to a rodeo, you earn your money, and you go and you see what your standings are immediately. At that time, it was all pen and paper and pad, and your availability to that data was limited.
Is it a challenge to find hosts for some of these events?
No, not at all.
Not anymore?
Not anymore, no.
When did that change, do you think?
I mean, in the past 20 years, I think you have
Really?
events like the National Finals Rodeo and Houston Livestock Show and Calgary Stampede and some of the biggest rodeos in the world. It's very easy now for these athletes to go earn their money. The women still in rodeo still struggle, though. The payouts aren't the same.
I was going to ask about pay. $1 million sounds great, but what about just an average event in the middle of the week somewhere? I mean,
No.
it's still not there.
Still not there.
How come?
That is a really broad question. I think that there are a lot of people that still think that these women need to pay their dues the same that a man did over 75 years ago. They haven't earned it enough yet, and that's just not true anymore. And I think that these women work harder than men do, and I can say that as a mother and someone having my own household and trying to go down the road, they work harder, if not, double hard that these men do. So
I would think that kind of a mindset, though, would be pretty much gone over the years. But do you say it's still out there?
it's absolutely still out there. You have to, the Western heritage is very old in its roots and its values, and it takes a lot to kind of change the mindset.
Yeah, it's still
sometimes.
pretty traditional stuff, isn't it? Okay, again, next week.
Next week, we host $1 Million Breakaway at Westworld in Scottsdale. It starts Monday with the semi-rounds and then goes all weekend with our final performances. There's tickets available on $1millionbreakaway.com, but you can come down earlier in the week. Bring your family. It's a great way to get rid of your in-laws over Thanksgiving.
All right, message taken. Amanda Kimes, Kimes Ranch, and again, Women in Rodeo. Thanks for being here. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me.
And that is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.